Okay, so I'm having kind of a hard time not being upset about this or like just being frustrated, right? So I'm looking, getting my voter plan down, right? I'm just making sure I got everything set up so I have to think less in the spot because, I have some bad ADHD in my mind and just go blank and whatever. I just don't want to derp out, right? It's better to go in with a plan and know what you're looking at, know what you're talking about. This is stuff that uh, is being proposed by Eric Adams, who is a criminal and hopefully will go to jail. But these things are still on the ballot, right? So this does give you a good synopsis here. Like, this is important. Protecting rights that provide, really important stuff. And as it breaks it down here, this is a really great place to have a break things down. This is council.nyc.gov and slash 2024 dash ballot dash proposal slash whatever the hell, right? It breaks it down here. This breaks it down further, like way, way better, in my opinion. This is kind of the description. I don't know if it's the same description. I think it might be. No, it's not exactly the same, but it's good. This is good. I really wish. I feel like there's never anywhere to go to like have someone talk about this kind of stuff. There's a lot of like, YouTube channels and really amazing people that talk about really serious, interesting, and important things, but not really on a state level or like a local level. Like it's very rare you see that. Usually it's just on a national level. Um, so I'm kind of trying to maybe get into doing that for New York since that's where I live. That's where I've lived my whole life, and I just feel like if no one's really doing it, someone's gotta. And maybe I'm not the most knowledgeable person in the world, and whatever, but I care. I give a shit. I think that's super important, and I at least grasp what's happening and have my own thoughts and opinions about it that might get other people to go, oh, okay, yeah, maybe you're making a good point. Or, hey, maybe people that understand things better than I do or know things better than I do, whatever. I'm not the best when it comes to terminology. We'll be able to grab this and run with it or, whatever. I'm just trying to be helpful because this stuff is very important and this stuff is only getting more and more important as the years have gone by. The past decade has been a nightmare. And it's only going to get worse if we don't talk about this, Talking about it is a big, big deal. So that's what I'm doing. And this is a big, big deal. So I would say it makes sense to lock this stuff and solidify it into our state because we need those protections. If things do wind up going to the states and that's how things wind up going down, we need to make sure that we have these rights baked right into the state. 2 to 6 is Adams' proposals, which are terrible, right? If you look here, it doesn't say that this is proposal 2. Doesn't mention that this is coming from Adams, office, or you know, it's not from him. Doesn't say anything about that. I'll just slide this over. And the wording and the framing that they use is like not helpful at all. It's not even bipartisan. It's just vague and useless. Someone reading this that's not like understanding everything that's going on right now is not like well read into politics. Isn't like paying attention to all the important shit going on, or like just is tired of it and just like I don't know what this is. Whatever. You know what I mean? I'm just trying to survive at this point, which we all are. Yes, but I mean it's important to for someone to like go, hey, this is not okay. I know you're tired and having a bad time, and you just want to get this shit over with, but this is the details. This is what you have to be aware of, and this is the important part here. Additional public notice before City Council vote on Public Safety Amendment. someone who's not super, into the details of this is going to go, oh, okay, let's see. To require additional public notice and time. Yeah, that sounds like a good thing. Give people more time to make decisions on things. Regarding public safety operations of police, correction departments, and fire departments. It's basically saying give them more time, is what it sounds like, right? But when you look here, these things really just get to the point and tell you this is bad, this fails to advance reform, distracts from real problems, leaves New York City without clear infrastructure review. Like, it breaks it down. This is what should be on the ballot. Information, just a little thing you can look at to go, what is this? Oh, this is what it actually is. Oh, this is what it really is. Okay. But they don't tell you that here. It's just like a really vague, who can even read between the lines here? This is just not useful at all. It's vague, it's useless. Language sucks. Even some of them, the framing sucks. Is this it? I think this is it, yeah. This proposal would block the ability to pass laws that improve public safety in response to New Yorkers' priorities by adding excessive bureaucracy and mayoral interference in scheduling. Remember, this is from Adams, who was the mayor, is now a criminal. He was a criminal, but now we know he's a criminal. And he was trying to consolidate power under him, and all of the people that got caught doing all the bad shit under him, many people are being either indicted or charged or whatever is going on with them as I'm recording this. Like, that's already been happening. He's been caught. And all of his, like, goons have all been caught, or at least majority of them. Like, the whole group is just bad, right? So there's reasons why these are like this. And not only is shit like this things that he's trying to propose, but it was also like last second, try to slip it in, ridiculous. And I was looking at this one, and this breaks it down even further, right? This is New York City Charter Revision Commission proposals explained. And they'll give you all the information about, what's happening, the story about all that, and then each one public safety. What's a proposal? It breaks it down. What would this actually change? And it tells you, initially a fair amount, probably the most of any of the proposed ballot initiatives. And they break it down about what that means. It says it gives 30 days public notice before votes on issues pertaining to public safety. Now that sounds like, hey, if we get more time for public notice, maybe more people can get organized and talk about it and have really important conversations and have time to really make a better decision. But it's not good. Things already take so long to do something about that adding a month to it will mean that things take even longer to have anything done about it, or it'll just never happen. And this is about public safety. This is terrible. Imagine some serious things happening in New York City and they want to do something about it, and we have to wait a month before we do anything about it. Think about what's happening in Florida right now. If we wanted to wait another month to do something about everything happening in Florida, you wouldn't have any constituents left. I mean, this is what Republicans are doing anyway. They're standing in the way of any real support and change that Biden is pushing for right now. But Republicans would rather stay on vacation than come back and help their own constituents. They'd rather watch them drown than have them thank a Democrat, of course. But anyway, this kind of shit contributes to that. And then while waiting, it gives the mayor's office the ability to, where is it? Let's see. How pissed is the city council? Pissed. I'm trying to collect my thoughts because I'm so angry about it. Like, they're pissed about this. the last-minute amendment proposals with no notice exemplifies the extreme hypocrisy of this rushed anti-democratic process. That's Adams trying to push this in as fast as possible, while pushing for something that will make things take longer. It's like, it just doesn't make sense. And let's see, according to the spokesperson, that Adams' administration wants to give themselves legislative power to hold hearings on bills separate from the council within those 30 days. It gives them more time to do things, and then gives them power to hold hearings separate from the council. So it gives them more power. And we don't need people like Adams to have more power. So that looks very, very different when you look at this. Does that sound at all like what this is saying? Like, now that we looked through this whole thing, or at least, skimmed it, and we get a little idea here, with delays public safety laws, adds excessive scheduling requirements that would delay public safety laws in response to emerging threats, like fire safety, which Adams undermined to take money from, I don't remember, Istanbul, Turkey, whatever the hell it was. He's taking money from them. They wanted him to not have to allow some building in Manhattan to pass a fire safety inspection. So he just said, oh no, they don't need an inspection, they're fine. Like, obviously, this was why. Specifically for fire safety in that case. Undermines accountability. I read this out already. Or did I? No. Gives the mayor power to interfere in lawmaking that holds their administration accountable for corruption, dysfunction, failures in public safety. So not only are they trying to consolidate more power, they're trying to take their own accountability away, where they can just go, oh well, it's in the rules that I can do this and get away with it, so I'm going to do that. And that's insane that you can even put that forth and people can vote on it. Like, it should just be like, no, clearly you can't do that. Blocks urgent safety fixes. Prevents votes on public safety laws in the final month of legislative sessions, limiting lawmakers' abilities to address urgent community needs. Of course, the community that you're supposed to be serving. What do we get on the ballot? A yes vote supports amending the city charter to require additional public notice and time before the city council votes on laws regarding public safety operations of the police departments, correction departments, fire departments. That's nothing. That doesn't even give you a quarter of what this is about. You know what I mean? Supports amendment. And then this doesn't give you any more context. It just says a no opposes it. So just reading this, it just sounds like it's about giving people more time to vote. That doesn't sound like a bad thing, right? Not necessarily. That's like subjective at least. But you get all this information and you're like, well, no, this is fucking terrible. You're literally blocking public safety laws. This is a very Republican proposal. That's all they do is stand in the way of democratic and socialist programs and shit. Like, that's what they do. This is intrinsically Republican. But this is trash. This is terrible wording, terrible framing, doesn't give you half the information you need, and it's pissing me off because people are going to see this and go, yeah, whatever. Okay, whatever, amend it. It sounds like you're making it better. And, well, let's look at amend. Make minor changes in a text in order to make it fairer, more accurate, and more up-to-date. In what fucking way does that amend anything? In what way does this amend anything? It's literally blocking public safety laws. That's infuriating. And that's not the end of it. You see how it's 2 through 6, right? Every single one of these are terrible. Terrible. Let's look at the next one. Street cleaning. New York street cleaning and requirement of waste containers amendment. People don't even know what that means. It sounds like, I don't know, why should I care? It has to do with waste stuff. What, I don't know. Supports amending the charter to expand and clarify the Department of Sanitation's power to clean streets and other city property and require disposal of waste in containers. That sounds like a big fucking nothing burger. And most voters who aren't on the ball and aren't reading into all this shit, don't know where to look because it's just not obvious, will read this and go, amending the charter. If they even know what the word amend means, they're going to assume this is a better, again, as they use the word always, to expand and clarify the Department of Sanitation's power, which sounds like make clearer, right? It sounds like we're demystifying something. It sounds like they want more clarity on things that we're unaware of that we should be aware of, which sounds like what people want from the government. More transparency, right? That's what it sounds like they're talking about here. And they're not. And then this is just like nothing, right? More enforcement and regulations by sanitation agency. Description. This proposal skipped the typical lawmaking process that allows New Yorkers to help shape proposed laws through input and aims to give more power for increased enforcement and regulations to the city sanitation department. The impact is it increases small businesses enforcement, gives the department more power to enforce rules against small businesses across the city. That's a huge deal. Small businesses are already in a really tough spot. This is disgusting, to say the least. Expands authority for more rules, provides the department with more power over regulations on the placement of trash bags. I'm sure most people couldn't give less of a shit about whatever that means. You know what I mean? Whatever. Undermines public input on cleanliness, bypasses and reduces the public's ability to influence specific changes to sanitation laws. So it bypasses the public's ability to influence specific changes and reduces their ability to do so, which means you. It's taking power away from you. That's not good. In a democracy, the people should have all the power, right? These agencies are here for us. They exist for us. Our taxes pay their wages, and they are tools for our society to maintain itself and progress. You know what I mean? So it's insane that they're trying to undermine us straight up. Public safety. That's the first one, right? Fiscal response. They're all out of order. Clean streets. This proposal will expand and codify the authority of the City Department of Sanitation to clean city-owned property, enforce regulations on street vending, and regulate how New Yorkers set out their trash. This comes as the city pursues the exciting innovation of garbage bins. And this is a link. Will it change? Well, the Department of Sanitation currently has the authority to clean some city-owned property. The current charter has a few gaps, meaning that the department is not expressly charged with the cleaning of center medians or perimeters of city-owned property. For example, according to the Commission's report, this proposal would close those gaps. The proposal would also formally extend the department's authority to enforce street vending to not just streets and sidewalks, but other areas like parks, where the NYPD and parks enforcement officers also have authority to issue street vending summonses, which is tickets. Vendors or people that sell things, right? Finally, as the city makes a push for trash bins, the proposal would clarify in the charter that the Department of Sanitation has the authority to enforce that push. So this gives cops more power and more authority to give tickets, which we don't want that. I mean, how pissed is City Council? Apparently not very. Council leaders have yet to weigh in this proposal. Unlike the previous two, it doesn't seem to directly impact the council's legislative process, but we're not only concerned about them and their legislative process, we're all concerned about our lives and how these things will affect us, and I think it sucks. So that's a fucking no. Right? Minority and women-owned business enterprise film permits amendment. Now this, off the bat, sounds like a good thing. Minority and women-owned business enterprise and film permits sounds great. We want to uplift minorities and women and small businesses, and great, awesome, we love that. Let's look at what it actually is. A bit of a jumble of different charter changes. This proposal would codify the position of the Chief Business Diversity Officer, authorize the Mayor's Office of Media and Entertainment to issue film permits, and streamline 2 city boards that are responsible for reviewing municipal records. What did actually change? The role of Chief Business Diversity Officer, created by Mayor Eric Adams, aka a criminal, through executive order last year and currently held by Michael Garner, would be codified in the charter under this proposal, but wouldn't be hugely changed. This proposal would also clarify that employees of the Mayor's Office of Media and Entertainment can issue film permits, a function currently served by the Commissioner of the Mayor's Office of Media and Entertainment under the authority of the Department of Small Business Services. Finally, the proposal would combine 2 advisory boards in the city charter that deal with municipal archives. Frank Dwyer, a spokesperson for the Charter Review Commission, said that the consolidation of these boards should have no effect on staff levels. How pissed is the City Council? Not a peep from council leaders on this proposal yet. Like the previous 2, it doesn't seem to directly impact council's work. So this is kind of like not very clear. Changes to unrelated city operations. Description. This proposal claims to change the authority and structures of several unrelated city offices and formalizes an existing role. Most of the changes could have been accomplished through the city's lawmaking process that provides greater opportunities for public input to shape policy proposals, which we want. Instead, this proposal allows the mayor to make changes developed with far less public input outside of his administration. Sounds bad to me. Impact. Names existing positions. Places the existing Chief Business Diversity Officer position in the city constitution without any apparent improvements. Just gives someone a title. Gives mayor power over business permits. Shifts more power to the mayor for issuing permits for film and television productions, which, if I know Adams, means that he wanted more power so he can trade those abilities to permit things for money and flights and whatever else he wanted. The more things he had that wasn't his that he can trade for things that can be his, the better. And this is why he made these proposals, because he got caught doing those things, taking bribes, making illegal trades, things that are prevalent in the U.S., especially in places like New York. Changes city archive process. Merges 2 existing boards responsible for reviewing city archives. So this is a no, even though it looks like something you'd want to click yes on it. The way they word it sounds great. Vote yes. Supports amending the city charter to establish the Chief Business Diversity Officer. That's the title. That changes nothing. It just gives someone a title. But it sounds nice when you put it on a ballot. Authorize the mayor to designate the office that issues film permits and combine archive boards. This, funny enough, does cover all the information. It just doesn't give you any context about it. It's like, these are the things that are being affected, right? Someone's getting a title. That means nothing. Authorize the mayor to designate, actually, gives the mayor power by taking it away from someone else, is what that really means. The office that issues film permits, and it combines 2 boards into 1. So, yeah, this is terrible language. I mean, it gives you more information than any other one we've looked at by actually telling you what it actually affects or involves, but it doesn't give you context as to like what it's changing. It just says, do you support this amendment? Here's no information about it, you know? So that sucks. And using a title like this will have people that give a shit about women and minorities and small businesses and go, oh, this is a good thing. I'm going to click yes. And that's what he's hoping with all of this. Street cleaning and requirement of waste containers amendment. Sounds like a good thing, whatever, yes. That's what people are going to do. They're going to see additional public notice before city council. Oh, cool, more time to vote. Yeah, we want to know things sooner. Boom. And they're all going to get yeses, and it pisses me off. It really does. It truly does. Capital planning amendment. Let's see what this one is. A yes vote supports amending the city charter to update process in the annual assessment of city facilities, mandating that facility needs inform capital planning and updating capital planning deadlines. I could have been speaking any other language and it would make just as much sense. Like, it's just word vomit. No one is going to read this on a ballot and even know what the it's saying, to be honest with you. I can guarantee you 99% of people are going to read this and go, what? And they're just going to eeny, meeny, miny, moe it or something. This gives you no information. This is just jumbled word vomit. It's nothing. It's literally nothing. And that's probably capital planning, right? That's this one. Capital. Yeah, capital planning amendment. The proposal. Under one of the Commission's less flashy proposals, the city would be required to publish more information about the repair, needs, and state of its infrastructure and facilities in its annual statement of needs report. Funny how this didn't mention anything about infrastructure at all. It would also formally require the city to take information about the conditions of its facilities into account during its capital planning process, which doesn't sound bad on, like, without understanding context, right? Well, it has actually changed. The proposal would formalize a few additional steps in the city's annual capital planning process. It would require the annual statement of needs, a rundown of proposals to build, expand, reduce, or close city facilities, to include information about their conditions. It would also formalize that information, and several other criteria are considered in the city's biannual 10-year capital strategy. The proposal would also push back the due date of the 10-year capital strategy to coincide with the release of the preliminary city budget in January, which is also just it just feels like reading is dragging on. It doesn't really feel like it's giving me anything to really consider. It's just like lore dump, you know? How pissed? Let's see. Council members have not yet been as vocal about this proposal, but Comptroller Brad Lander, who is credited in the Commission's report for making a recommendation that led to this proposal, blasted it in a statement on Wednesday. Proposal number 4 is meaningless, does not advance transparency, and fails to improve the city's capital planning process in any way. Lander said, that's the end of the sentence. Sorry, I read that wrong. Requiring the citywide statement of needs to include additional detail on facility condition is meaningless for capital budget planning purposes, since these are in fact the projects that the city has already decided need to be improved and to invest funds to do so. So it is a nothing burger. Again. Okay, this proposal falsely claims to like immediately, right off the bat, this website is the shit. Just breaks it on down in a real layman's kind of way, so you don't have to like cover all your bases by speaking in a really formal way. It's just like this proposal falsely claims to improve the city's capital planning process, straight up, but it offers no meaningful improvements and fails to advance transparency, which we want. It disregards independent recommendations to change the city's comprehensive infrastructure report and instead proposes changes to a different process that covers less than 1% of the city's infrastructure. It is garbage. I feel like this is basically a way to get people to think that Adams is doing something useful and to go, maybe he isn't that bad. He seems to be doing lots of good stuff. I mean, capital city planning. He's trying to amend the way we do things, and that sounds like a good thing. Right? Amending the city charter to update process in the annual assessment of city facilities, mandating that facilities needs inform capital planning and updating capital planning deadlines. I don't know. As vague as it is, it sounds like a good thing, kinda, I guess. But it's clearly not. Fails to advance reform. Ignores recommended reforms that could fix inefficiencies and the lack of transparency in the city's capital planning process. Distracts from real problems. Introduces meaningless changes to a process that affects less than 1% of the city's infrastructure, while falsely claiming to address a serious issue and misleading the public. Sounds very Republican. Leaves New York City without clear infrastructure review. Leaves city without an accurate review of its infrastructure, including schools, libraries, roads and sidewalks, pipes that deliver clean water, and flooded sewers. Pretty important stuff, to be honest. Really important stuff right there. So, that's a no. Fiscal analysis and budget deadline amendment. I guess supports amending the city charter to require fiscal analysis from the city council before hearings and votes on laws. Authorizing fiscal analysis from the mayor and updating budget deadlines. To someone who's not paying attention or is just trying to get through this ballot, just isn't gonna really, they're gonna be like, yeah, sure, whatever, right? Let's see what this last one is. It's fiscal, right? I think it's at the top. I think they started with that, or second one, right? The proposal would change how the city assesses the fiscal impact of proposed laws, giving the Adams administration more say on the cost associated with proposed legislation. It would also alter some budget deadlines. What would it actually change? The city council would be required to publish fiscal impact statements before they hold a hearing on proposed legislation, release another updated analysis before the final vote, and publish both the city's council's financial estimates and an estimate from the mayor's office of management and budget. Regarding the latter, the city council would be required to give the mayor a notice of 8 days before holding a public hearing or a full vote on a proposed law, so OMB has time to provide its own financial estimate. Fiscal impact statements are currently published just before the city council votes on a proposed piece of legislation. For example, the city council passed legislation to expand rental voucher access last year, only 1 day after publishing documents projecting the measure would cost $10 billion. A measure the Adams administration has clashed with the city council over. Oh yeah, he was really trying to cut so much funding for the city. There's 3 women. I have to find it where it was. I don't remember where it was. There's 3 women, I believe, in the Socialist Democrat Association who withheld their votes and fought for important things that people probably don't even know who they are. And when they came to an agreement, which is Adams and Adams shaking on a deal, whatever the hell. Anyway, yeah. So, how pissed is the council? Angry. City Council Finance Committee Chair Justin Brannan said he finds the proposed fiscal amendments particularly concerning, requiring the Mayor's Office of Management and Budget to submit estimates for every single bill before we can hold a public hearing will grind government to a halt. More standing in the way of bills and trying to get nothing passed so nothing changes so we can blame Biden for all of it. when people are trying to get things done. That's pretty much what this is. He said in a statement, "I promise you New Yorkers don't want to codify OMB supremacy." So, yeah, it's more of just standing in the way of change to get things done, to make things happen, to keep things moving, you know? If we had to wait a month before every single thing and then had to just do all of this, it's just a lot of nonsense. It's a lot of nonsense. It's taking things that people already have to jump through hoops to do and adding 10 times the hoops and time gating it. You know what I mean? It just doesn't make sense to do. It's not helpful in any meaningful way, and New Yorkers will feel that. They'll definitely feel that. Let's go here to see what that says here. Wasteful spending, slower results, and less budget transparency. This proposal requires redundant review process of proposed laws, adding significant taxpayer costs because things taking longer means we're paying more people to do nothing, and delays to lawmaking. It also reduces budget transparency by giving the public less time to examine the mayor's proposed budget. Important. He wants to try to get away with it without anyone having time to do anything about it. That's a problem. Increases bureaucracy and taxpayer costs, which we don't want. We're tired of paying these people to do nothing for us. Requires thousands of hours of extra work for unnecessarily redundant reviews of proposed laws, increasing wasteful spending and working hours. Slows abilities to solve problems. Reduces the ability to advance timely solutions with proposed laws by creating scheduling roadblocks. Weakens budget transparency, delays budget deadlines for the mayor, and gives the public and oversight bodies less time to review and critique the mayor's proposed budget. Cuts to libraries, for example. All very, very bad. All very, very bad. 2 through 6, all very, very bad. So when you see these, which they should say proposal 2, it should say proposal 3, proposal 4, proposal 5, proposal 6. It doesn't. It says them by name. Only the good one that we do want says proposal 1, which is upsetting. It should specify that. But no, it's not. So when we're voting on things like this, we want to say no to all this garbage. We don't want to vote yes for any of this shit. The website for this, I mean, I'll link this just so you can read this yourself, and I'll link this so you can look through this yourself and see how you feel about it, right? But I think it's very, very important, and I think this is very vague, purposely framing it even. I mean, it should be more obvious, more transparent, and less obtuse. I feel like this is deliberately obtuse. This is just intentional bullshit. This is deliberate. This is deliberate, and it's not fair to voters who are just going to see it and go, yeah, whatever, this is better, sure, whatever. There really should be, like, this should be attached. This should just be attached to give you a synopsis of, like, what the hell you're actually looking at, and description, the impact. Like, this is done so well. This is so well. It's nice and neat. It gives you the proposal, kind of the synopsis here, right? Like what it's doing, meaningless, misleading capital planning changes. And then you can go, what does that mean? Well, here's the description of it to give you context. And here are bullet points of how it's going to impact you as a citizen and a person who lives in New York City. Like, this is what we need. Not this. Do better. You know? Do better. That's all I'm saying. Thank you, guys. This is like my first time doing anything like this. I'm just fed up. And I feel like I understand this probably better than normal people just trying to get by, that just don't have the time or energy or patience to deal with this shit. And I don't blame them. I'm not trying to say I'm better than you or like anything. Right now, just trying to not die, just trying to survive, especially in a place like New York where everything is so expensive and we get paid shit. I don't blame you. I don't blame you for just not wanting to have to deal with it, let alone look into it and figure out the details and like what are these snakes doing now? What am I clicking on? What am I signing to? You know, most people just skip to the end, sign their name and just let me go, you know? I get it. But who's president isn't the only important thing here. There's very important things in local government that we need to at least understand. So that's what I'm trying to do here. I'm trying to help y'all understand what you're looking at before you get to the ballot and you're like, I don't know what this shit is. You're either going to check off yes or no randomly or try to gain some kind of idea of what these words are what they're saying so you can go, try to get something out of it. I can't find the words I really want to use here, but yeah. I don't think they're very clear about a lot of this stuff. And I don't want these things to get passed because people don't know and they're just like, whatever, you know, I'm just trying to get through my day. I'm just trying to survive for the next week. Trying to live to get my next check so I can keep living to get my next check, and I get it. And you're not wrong for that. I'm only here to help and try to help you grasp what you're looking at, what we're dealing with, and to make an informed decision and not let these people get their way and pull one over on us. We deserve better. And I'm trying to help us get there. So if you've watched this, thank you so much. I appreciate you. I really ask that you spread this around. I think people really need to be aware of this shit. If you live in New York and you give a shit about other people, or even just yourself, because a lot of this has to do with everyone, whether you're Republican or not. I mean, this isn't even really about policies that really focus on things that conservatives tend to care about, like, you know, identity and health and stuff like that. This is other stuff, but it's quality of life, right? It's like a small patch on a game. Those little things, they add up, they matter, and we matter, and our voices matter, and that's why I'm here, to give you the knowledge to make a decision because you matter. And when we click yes or no, we fill in those bubbles, our voices matter. So we should also know why we're doing it. So I would really appreciate just hitting the like, you know, just get the algorithm to understand that this is an important video and share this. I'm going to try to put markers and stuff on the video so you don't really have to hear me rambling as much, because I just have a lot of feelings about this, all of this, and I have a lot of thoughts, and I can't always get it out as concise and simple as I'd like to. I feel like I just really like to elaborate and try to get as in detail as I can so you could really understand me, and it might come off as being excessive and long-winded, and I apologize for that. So I'm going to try to put markers so you can just skip where you want to go, get the information you need, and, you know, listen to the rest if you want to. But I'm going to also try to make a short version of the video, I think, just giving you the highlights so you know what to vote on. If you're like, yeah, I just want to know, what do I do? What do I click on? Give me the progressive voter, you know? What do I do? Just tell me. I don't need reasons. I know you have good intentions. I know you give a shit about us. What do I do? I'll give you the short and sweet of it so you don't have to listen to me talk about it for, I don't know, how long has it been now? A long time. I've been talking for a long time. Let's just say that. So, thank you for watching. Thank you for caring enough to click on this video and watch this and understand this stuff. It's very important stuff. And I hope to do more of this, because I don't see people really doing it, and if they are, I'm not seeing it. So if you don't see it, be it. You know what I mean? Be the change you want to see, and I am trying to do that with this video. So thank you guys. I love you and appreciate you. This is the whole reason why I do it, because I care. If I only cared about myself, I wouldn't do any of this shit. But I do. I think everyone is important, and we all matter, and we all should have a voice to make change and stop evil people who want to consolidate power and screw us over for a buck. We need to be able to stop them, and we need to know how. This is how. Hit no. No to the bullshit, okay? Thank you guys. I appreciate you.